Hey, what's up, guys? May here again, and I just got back from locals, and I went undefeated and won the event playing Fiendsmith, Magical Musketeer, Unchained, whatever you want to call it. Not the big combo version, but like the more control mid-rangey version. That being said, it was a lot of fun, and I haven't played this deck since Crossover Breakers came out, but felt like a good time to play around with it. And yeah, it was a really good call today. And yeah, I was able to pull a QCR fee dash with my winning packs, so that was exciting. So yeah. Anyway, figure I'll just do a quick deck profile if you guys are interested. Pretty standard stuff. We've got the sort of maximalist Fiendsmith package here with 3 engraver. Only playing 2 lacrima, just to cut down on normal summon since I'm playing the musket cards as a normal summon engine. 1 Lurie, and then we play 3 tracked. This is especially good because not only is it a starter, obviously, but with the musket cards, this is obviously something that you can do to use to trigger their effects. Speaking of which, we also play 3 Fiendsmith Sanct. It's just Hornet drones for Fiendsmith. And the same thing as Tracked. It's really good just because it's a 1-card starter, but it also helps you trigger all of your Musketeer effects and gain advantage through the game. And then just the 1 Fiendsmith in Paradise. Sometimes you can like take it out going second, but it's really good for the grind game. So it's crazy that the Fiendsmith cards are just like completely unhit still. It feels like absolutely broken playing them. Obviously no Fusion Lacrima, but that's okay. Then for the Musket package, we've got 3 Starfire. She's the best one just because she special summons from deck. And then we've got 1 Casper and 1 Calamity. This is just to get more. We run these 2 so that we have 3 names to possibly special off of Max. But also, like, Casper's kind of nice just because, like, if you're, like, on turn 1, like, you can, like, summon him, activate a Sanct or whatever behind him, and then it just searches you follow up, like a Starfire, so that you can have more gas playing on turn 3. And then Calamity's obviously just Monster Reborn. So I really like this ratio. I know a lot of people will just play like these cards. I think at I forget which YCS it was. I think it was Anaheim. I think Joshua Schmidt was playing a 2-2 of these, which is I think totally defensible. But I like the 5-card package, especially since I'm not like maining like Eccentric, which I think is it was 1 card the person who won the YCS was on in the main with this deck. And then we've got just the 1 Unchained Soul of Shavara. You only need 1, and it's really just something that you can search with Yama. The basic idea here is before you go into a sequence play, you go into Yama, search this, and then when you go sequence, you just pop the sequence with this if they try to Imperm or Valor it. And then once you like summon a Desiree or any other fusion thing that you're trying to do, you can just pop the sequence anyway, and then the Yama just special summons out like a Rage or a level 6 that you can then overlay. So I don't play the trap, either of the traps in this. If you were going to play one, I think it would have to be Chamber of the Unchained, just because you rarely have both Yama and you rarely have Yama engrave and Rage on field, so Escape would just be dead most of the time. Chamber would be okay, but I just don't think it's necessary. I mean, you have like plenty of interrupts with this deck, and I would say like a lot of the time, like there's just not a good reason to run it. Yeah, I don't know. I just like the 1 Shavara just as a combo enabler, and it helps make a lot of your 2-card combos like a lot stronger as opposed to just having Fiendsmith and Musket cards. That's it for the engine. I think that's like I want to say it's like 19 cards, and then I think it's like 23 non-engine in the main deck for 42 total. I play 42 just to hide bricks like Paradise. Anyway, then we're playing Two Nibiru. Not playing three for. It was just. I had hand traps I wanted to fit in more. um, Playing just kind of the standard bestial package here: Mag, Drew a Swarm, Baldrake. Only three Charmies in the main, three Fua, obviously, because it's Fua and it's really good. And then three Ash Blossoms, the normal art, to stop your opponent's Fua, among many other things. Great card. It's nice being out of fire format where you don't have to worry about Hida stealing this. And then I play two Ghost Ogre. I think this card's super underrated right now. I think even going into the next format, when Malice is going to be the best deck, this card's so good, even in that matchup. I think this paired with another hand trap should stop them most of the time. I've noticed on a lot of like YouTube combos, people are starting off going for like a Splash Mage play. And I think the idea there is like by not banishing like a Dormouse or whatever from the graveyard like you would with something like Haggard, that essentially gets you to an extra body on field. When like later in the combo, usually like you banish like Malice in the Mirror and then it banishes that and adds Marchair to hand or something like that, right? And that combo is really problematic though, because in exchange for that one extra body on board, which granted helps you make a bigger board with like Cryptor in the grave and Echo Talker on the field, I think it just win more and it loses harder to something like Ghost Ogre. Because you just chain Ghost Ogre to the Splash Mage, and Splash Mage isn't a card that needs to like summon to its zone or whatever, like something like Morensis Coral Anemone does. So you just chain this, and they summon the one body back, they lose the Splash Mage, and now they are Cyber Slocked with one body on the board. And obviously this card's really good in the Blue Eyes. I played a Blue Eyes player today, Guillermo, really good player, got a top at the same regional that I did. Playing Magia, shout out, yo, most expensive Blue Eyes player. But yeah, I was like ogred his like True Light in every game that we played today, which was really funny. I had one game where I just like drew like 5 hand traps in my opening hand and passed, and then I just like drew 5 more hand traps in a row. That game was fucking stupid. But anyway. So I'm a Ghost Ogre truther for sure. And then 3 Veiler, a little better now that Talents is less in the format. I mean, it's it's like in every deck, but there's not going to be 3 running around. But yeah, it's a good card. It's not like a hand trap that you'd include in every deck, but when you have 23 non-engine, it's definitely worth running. And then just 2 Droll. You don't care too much about like the contradiction with Fualos, as long as you like play around with it like correctly. Like in my game against Guillermo today, I went Fualos and he chained Crossout. And then I chained Droll because he had just like added. So before I drolled him, I tried to go Fualos just to see if that would resolve. It didn't, and then I went Droll. So that's one way that you can play around with both those cards, because the one can bait out a Crossout or a Called By. And then the other can end your opponent's turn. So, Droll, good card. I don't think it's totally busted, like even against Blue Eyes, but very solid. And then just the 1 Talents, 1 Called By. These help you win hand trap wars, which is what this deck's all about. And then 3 Imperm, because it's Imperm. So yep, that's main deck. 42 cards in total. Onto the extra deck. Pretty like standard Fiendsmith extra deck. Necroquip, obviously. Aerial Leader, not necessarily needed in this deck, but I do kind of like it just because like there are situations where, say you have like musket cards that you've been able to get on board, but like your opponent has negated your Requiem to attempt to get like Lacrima and Engraver in play, or they just like imperm the Lacrima and you don't have Engraver engrave. You can use this card to just dump the Engraver to get it in rotation and then continue extending, going into like Yama, Rage, summon it back, and with like multiple bodies on board still. So I think this is like a super underrated card to play in this deck. It's even a little better on Master Duel too. I've kind of played around with it. You don't necessarily need it for this deck, on Master Duel, but it is kind of fun. And sometimes you just like banish like your Fusion Lacrima and one of your engravers to like extend and like get like lethal with this card. It's come up. And then we play 2 Desiree. Shout out to my OG copy and shout out to the QCR I pulled the other day. Still waiting on my CR for this. I wasn't planning on having a QCR, but I was trying to just go for the CR because I think they look really nice in the set. So that'll probably be going in instead. But you'd play 2 just so like you have one on board and one can be sent with Fiendsmith and Paradise theoretically. You don't necessarily need to play 2. It never really came up that I necessarily needed to, but it's kind of nice. And then 2 Requiem. This one I do think is like super mandatory to play it too. Not just because of something like Unicorn being in the format, but there are times where like you have this engraved because you've used it on turn 1, and then you want you're playing on turn 3, and sometimes you want to just be able to like link something off into a Requiem without being able to like shuffle the one engrave back. And sometimes they could get banished too. That came up today when I was playing my friend Javier. He was on Malice Bestial Fiendsmith, and he like drew a swarmed my Requiem away on turn 1, but I had a second one in extra deck. So comes up definitely in the grind game. So I highly recommend 2. Just the one sequence. You only need one. You don't need to even make this to win the game a lot of the time, but you like having one in the deck so that you do have access to your Desiree and occasionally Area Leader. That's the Fiendsmith package. No Agnum Day. It would have been nice in one of my games where I like needed to get one body off the board, and that would have been great if I could just like link off the sequence and Desiree on board with that and then bring it back and swing for lethal. But I think I ended up just going into like Rage or Yama anyway, linking off the blanking the Desiree, and so I was just able to send that way, and then I just popped a card with Shavara, and then Yama brought the Desiree back to the field anyway. So that's a cute way to play around with that. But aside from that, I just didn't feel like I had a hard time OTKing, and I felt like I had enough spot removal anyway. Anyway, so then for like just the generic stuff, we've got Chaos Angel, because this deck's really good at making Chaos Angel, and like one engraver is a 1 card guaranteed combo to get to this and out like a detonator, specifically if it doesn't have twins or whatever. Then obviously Kaisar, shout out to the QCR that I also pulled the other day, pretty crazy. I've also played Constellar Ptolemy M7. This is really funny because every time I play this, people ask me what it does. And this is literally just you detach a material and you add a monster from grave to hand. So sometimes you're adding an engraver for follow-up, adding maybe a musketeer card for follow-up. But a lot of the times in this deck, what you're actually doing is you're adding a hand trap. Like you're adding an Ash, you're adding a Droll, you're adding Veiler, Ghost Ogre even. And then you swing for this with this into your opponent's board, and then you slap a Zeus on top of it. So it's pretty good. Definitely came up a few times in these very grindy games that this deck facilitates, which again, as opposed to like the Unchained combo deck that I showed off before, this is a very mid-range deck that's meant to like set up a good board, stop your opponent from going like crazy on you, and then you just like control the game infinitely with Fiendsmith follow-up. We then played the 1 max for the Magical Musketeer package. This card was crazy all day. Man, I like special summon like 2 or 3 monsters from deck like multiple times. It was pretty good. Sometimes you have like an embarrassment of link bodies on board. It was a lot of fun. And then the Unchained package, just 1 Yama, 1 Rage. Don't need any more than this. It's really cool that you can just like use Shavara, pop Rage, then bring it back with Yama, and then use Rage's effect to like just add, again, like an engraver to hand or whatever, just for follow-up. And again, because we're not playing like any of the Unchained traps, like this is just like surviving on board by itself, and ideally linking into an SP on your opponent's turn, which SP was like high-key, like, MVP of the extra deck today. Whether it was off of Rage or whether I was, like, making it going into boards or cleaning up boards on turn 3 and, like, just kind of solidifying me winning grind games and that sort of thing. But SP is definitely mandatory in this deck. The Unchained stuff, I wouldn't say is necessarily mandatory, but I highly recommend it. Unless you're playing the Kashtira version of this deck. Then you don't need it just because you have like that extra like ways of like removing body and putting pressure on your opponent's board. But I think if you're playing more of a pure Fiendsmith control deck like I am, I think these are just so good just for making your boards better. And like I said, not only do they make your boards better, but they make them stickier. This recurs you resources. This can reborn any fiend, so not just Rage, but like I said before, it can reborn your Desiree or whatever, which is pretty fun. The extra deck does feel tight, though. I would love to be able to have like room for like a Typhon, the Unchained Soul of Anguish, or Gaia the Dragon Champion, just to make better Zeuses. I mean, there's so many options. Duke of Demise is another card that would be really good for the musket cards, just because you get that extra normal summon off, and then again can add stuff to hand. That card looks really good, and then obviously Agnum Day is a really nice utility card. But anyway, I was very happy with this deck here, with how I constructed the extra deck. I think the only thing I might consider changing is taking out maybe the second Desiree and putting another utility card in there. Anyway, then for the side deck, this is just like what I used today. Just the one bell. There's no reason for one bell as opposed to like 2 or 3. It's just what I had room for in my side. And it's kind of nice against like all the Fiendsmith decks, you know. Just negate a sequence with it. You can negate bestial effects with it. Negate an engraver effect to summon. Helps you kind of like board break by negating the lacrima effect to summon on your opponent's turn. I don't know. And then obviously against Malice just negates the activation of their field spell, which is hilarious and all sorts of stuff. So, good card. And then my Molch Army on the side was the 3 Meows, just because like this card's really good against not just Malice, but also Fiendsmith. Because like you just chain this to the Lurie or you chain this to the Engraver Reborn, and you're getting like 1 to 2 draws minimum if they're like full comboing. So, good card. Also kind of nice against Blue Eyes too. Same deal where it's like 1 to 2 draws with it. So worst, it's like Upstart Goblin, but it forces your opponent to make worse boards. And then just Lancia for Malice. It never came up. I mean, Javier was on Malice obviously in our match, but I never drew it. And then a thrust package. So 2 thrusts, 1 lightning storm, 1 duster, 1 D-barrier, and 1 sanctum. Yeah, this is just to draw your Lancias, or get into your Lancias, just because like Malice can have like a ton of gas, especially, which can be a lot for like a mid-rangey board to deal with, especially if you end up with like only 1 monster on board, especially if they hand trapped you. So like being able to thrust for this is really big. Again, never came up. I don't think I drew into any of these cards actually today, but I think in theory they made a lot of sense. And I also just kind of wanted a chance to try out the new Duster art that I haven't gotten to yet. And then just 2 Judgments just to round up my going first cards. You know, I've been playing this like at 3 of in Voiceless Voice, and this card is crazy. Just like negate a summon, negate a blowout power spell or whatever. Just nutty. Alright guys, and I'm going to show you kind of a bread and butter like 2-card combo with this deck. For those of you who don't really know how it works, we're going to start with Magical Musketeer Starfire and Fiendsmith Soct. So we're going to normal summon Starfire here. Ooh, let me fix that camera a little bit. We're then going to activate Sanct underneath it. This is going to summon out our... this is totally a Fiendsmith token right there, don't worry about it. On res, we're going to go Starfire effect to special from deck. We're going to summon out Caspar. We are then going to link off the token first. I kind of want to do this just so we can see, are we getting our Fiendsmith stuff in rotation? So then from there we can always make a sequence play to like dump an engraver if we have to. So we'll go Requiem, Requiem effect, tribute itself for Lacrima. Lacrima effects, again, if you get impermed here, you can just go into like a Yama, go into Rage, go into a sequence. But anyway, assuming it resolves, we're going to dump Engraver here. And then from here, now that we've used our Starfire and it's safe to just kind of start linking stuff off, we know we can get Max back in the extra deck, since we do have an Engraver to shuffle it back. So we will summon out the Max. It doesn't do anything on your turn 1, but this is just to make sure you have extra Fiend link material engraved. So we're just going to link that off. And we're also going to link off the Lacrima here, and we're going to go into Unchained Soul of Yama. We're going to go Yama effect here. That's going to help us search out our Shavara. We're then going to go Engraver effect, Engrave, shuffling back Max just to make sure we have it available for follow-up on the next turn. Engraver's going to summon out. We're then going to link them off into Unchained Soul of Rage. Now with the Shavara in hand, we're just going to pop the Rage, summon it out. This is going to trigger our Yama to reborn the Rage, and then Rage is going to target Engraver to add it back to hand. We're now then going to pitch the Engraver to search out our copy of Fiendsmith Tract. We're then going to activate Tract behind Casper, searching Larry and discard Larry. We'll go chain link 1 Larry, chain link 2 Casper to add our follow-up in the form of Starfire. So on turn 3, we can just summon this, go into Max, and then we just get our whole Fiendsmith engine running, and we'll probably get, I mean, this plus Max can like eat up negates before you even get into the rest of your stuff. So it's pretty crazy. Obviously Larry's coming back here, and we're then going to go Requiem equip to Larry. And then we're going to Contact Fuse into Necroquip Princess. So here we can do 2 things. We can go Shavara over Princess overlay to make Kaisar. But what I'm going to do here, because this is like kind of an interesting inboard, is we're going to link these 2 off. Obviously, if you have like Imperm or something set, you just set it behind this Casper. If you leave it up on board, you just get more follow-up. Worst case, you just get like a second Starfire for like tracked fodder or something like that if you need. But in this case, we're just going to link them off, assuming we have nothing else in hand. Or assuming we just have like 3 monster hand traps, whatever. And then we'll go into Sequence here. And then Sequence is just going to fuse our Engraver, our Lurie, and our Casper. We want to choose Casper over Starfire, since we have plenty of Starfires. 1 in hand, 1 in deck. Casper we want to get back in rotation for Max, so we'll shuffle these back to make Desiree. And then here, like if you had like some kind of like extra link extender, you could always link these off. But here, pretty simple, just go Sequence equip to Desiree here. And yeah, you end with Desiree, untargetable and for negates. Rage, links something off and then goes into SP. And then Necroquip here, so when you activate your own hand traps or when your opponent discards an Engraver, discards the Apophis, no, what is it, the Anubis, the Last Judge, whatever, when they discard that, when they discard their Imsetis, whatever, you just get like a free draw off of it, and you know, hopefully draw into a hand trap on their turn. So it's kind of a cool inboard piece. The other cute thing you can do, the secret hidden effect of this, is you can activate this first effect here, which says, let's see if I can get this in focus. Equip one of the monsters discarded to this as an equip spell. So if your opponent like discards like an Engraver or like, again, like an Imseti or whatever, you just like equip it to this card. It's pretty broken. So yeah, so it works as a upstart goblin or as a minor interrupt for your opponent's turn. But anyway, this is just like kind of a standard like 2-card combo. I think in like real game states, you're going to get interrupted like once or twice, and you might be going like playing around stuff, but this is just like kind of like what the deck can do theoretically. And then like hopefully you just like draw like a bunch of hand traps to back this up. I mean, if you've played like Unchained, like this already, or you know, if this was Kaiser and this, like that's just like your standard like low ceiling Unchained board. So the fact that you can get into it with this and then have it backed up by like 2 or 3 hand traps, broken, crazy. So anyway, I've had a lot of fun playing this, and yeah, I hope you've had fun watching me go over it. So yeah, let me know, guys, what you think, and if you have any combos for this or any other sort of fiend variants that you'd like to show off. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that, and I'll see you in the next one.